What's going on? What is going on? Arthur Moats joined right now by Mark Bergin. And listen, usually, we do a live format all buttoned up, but we said we don't got time for that today, all right? The game happened. We couldn't wait to talk about it. So you said, yeah, man, what? You get off work. I'm going to come back home, man. Let's get to going. And here we are, 34-32, Pittsburgh Steelers taking care of business on the road in the season opener versus the New York Jets. Mark, talk to me, baby. How did you feel, man? It was a lot that happened, man. It was a lot that happened.
Arthur, the fact of the matter is the Steelers haven't had a quarterback on their roster since Ben Roethlisberger in 2017 who could have won the game yesterday, and they have that in Aaron Rodgers. Right off the top, there's your glass half full perspective, but 4 touchdowns in the air is the best performance I've seen from a Steelers quarterback going back to last season's matchup against Cincinnati in the first game after you fired Matt Canada. And, Russell Wilson's going off last year for 400-plus yards. But they couldn't run the ball yesterday. The defense played poorly, and they still won. I mean, 7 lead changes in the game yesterday.
Come on, man.
It's the first time I've seen a Steelers quarterback play at just a very high level of football since Ben Roethlisberger pre-elbow injury. So that's the glass half full perspective that I have from the game that we saw yesterday. So a lot of excitement from that standpoint, but man, there's still a lot of things that the Steelers can build on as well.
No, I could dig that as well, man. But I'm with you. A ton of positives to start off with this thing. I mean, when you talk about quarterback play, you said it yourself. It's been ages since we've seen not just that level of production, but the thing that was getting me was his pre-snap, understanding what we wanted to get in terms of the call. And then also, man, just when things were going a little rocky, you talk about 7 lead changes. There was a point in time where the Jets were having a lot of success and feeling extremely good. How about the calming presence, right? A guy who has been in so many big games, the moment is never too much for him. A guy that, literally, it's like, man, okay, I done got sacked a couple of times because we know O-line, we said was going to be a work in progress. They did enough to get it done yesterday. We wouldn't say they were great, but they did enough. It's never going to be perfect.
We're going to get into that. Oh,
trust me.
We're going to get into that.
We're going to get to it. Absolutely.
I got to self-correct myself here really quickly. I'm getting my years confused. Matt Canada has been the coordinator in 2 years.
With Mason Rudolph. Yeah, but last year with the Russell. Yeah.
It was the Russell Wilson game against Cincinnati where it was the shootout a year ago. And then we had, but the first game post Matt Canada too, I remember, was an offensive explosion. The fact of the matter is
both games were Cincinnati as well. That's the crazy part.
I'm getting my years confused. But I liked what I saw from Rodgers, and let's keep it on offense here. I like the the yards after catch with DK. I like the fact that he gave Calvin Austin one-on-one opportunities and said, hey, go make a play, whether it's a jump ball or the touchdown pass that we saw, the pass interference pass penalty on the very last drive where they set Boswell up for the 60-yarder. The Wizard of Boz, the serial killer at the kicker position.
Come on, baby.
The special teams too, Arthur. You had a 60-yard field goal. Oh, and let's just forget that Boswell made a 56-yarder, and you got the forced fumble, which really shifted the momentum of the game.
Kenneth Gainwell. Hello.
So some positives to draw on if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm glad you brought up the wide receiver room. Calvin Austin, to me, was one of the most impressive players on the field for multiple reasons. Obviously, we know DK was DK, right? We talk about the run at the catch. That's him, man. That's the big body. You can be right and you're still wrong when you're playing against DK. And that was his production yesterday. But Calvin Austin was the one that really surprised me because we hadn't seen him all preseason. And there were certain things that we wanted to see from him in the sense of, are you just running routes or are you being a competitive player down the grass? Because there are two different things, man. You got guys that run routes and you got guys that are trying to compete, guys that are trying to make plays. And you could see where Aaron Rodgers first gave him that opportunity. And it's like, oh, all right. Heck, on the touchdown, you would think that, it was a blown coverage. No, he's putting work on the man that's covering a one-on-one. Beautiful in terms of the route running. That was some of the things that I was critical of Calvin Austin early on in his career. More details with the route running when you're stemming guys, man, using more of the head fakes and stuff like that to make defenders believe. He did that beautifully and was all the way wide open on the touchdown pass. It's like, That's what you want to see. And then, like you said, drawing the pass interference late in the game, too, you could just see his confidence. He wasn't up there just running just to run. My man's like, yo, put the ball up. It's mine. I don't care how big I am or how small y'all might think I am. He was ready to make plays. And like I said, that was super impressive. And we can't forget Ben Skronik.
I knew it.
We talk
I knew
about
you were going there.
You talk about who are you going to keep on your roster? Why do you keep certain guys on your roster? Not only does he score the game's first touchdown of the season. I don't think any of us had him predicted for that. But then he turns around. He also gives you a special teams tackle. And you brought up the Kenneth Gainwell forced fumble. He's the guy that recovers it. To me, that wide receiver room really showed up. We know there have been a lot of criticism, a lot of eyes on it because we want a more prolific wide receiver too, or at least that's what we were saying. But I thought for week one, that room specifically, I would say over produced in terms of what we were expecting from them. Whereas obviously we know that can't be said about everywhere on this team right now.
All right, hang on. I'm still keeping glass half full because we're talking about Victory Monday when we're recording this.
Come on, man. We can't rush the victory now. You can't rush the victory.
Ben Skronik is the first Steelers touchdown of 2025. Who had it on their bingo cards, Arthur? Who had, of the first touchdown pass of Aaron Rodgers in the black and gold? Oh, Skronik's going to be the guy.
I was heavy on the Muth train. I was like, it's going to be Muth. I could just see Muth. It's Muth. And Skronik. Shout out to Ben Skronik, though, man.
I liked the yak. I liked what I saw from Jonnu Smith as well. It might not show up in the final stat sheet. I know he had the touchdown reception, which counts is one of Rodgers' four. Steelers quarterback hasn't thrown for 4 touchdowns since 2021. So Roethlisberger's the last one to do that. So I like Jonnu Smith because they keep talking about his versatility and he's the jack of all trades. We saw a little bit of that. He just seemed to be a mismatch for the opposing defense. And again, I get that the stats weren't all the way there, but in the coming weeks, we got a glimpse of how the Steelers are going to use all the tight ends that they have on the roster, how they're going to use the receivers. I mentioned the yak with DK. I mean, there's the revenge factor that Rodgers had going up against his former team in the Jets. You don't think that DK wants a taste of that? And that's something that they'll downplay all week where behind closed doors, it's just
it's
human nature.
Oh, it's not there.
It's human nature.
Coach Tomlin, the first meeting they're going to have is going to have that Seahawks logo and DK up there like, hey, bro, you remember this? You remember you? All right, that should be you now. All right, just know this. They ain't want you. They sent you here.
I liked that he can run the different routes on the route tree as well. And I know we're coming off a year where Pickens was your receiver one. Pickens, it was like the go ball and the catch radius and the downfield. We saw a little bit of yards after catch with Pickens, but with Metcalf yesterday, it was like, this makes sense that you make the trade, and it makes sense why you pay him the money, and you have a quarterback that can get him the football. Like, it's like, what? Crazy concept, Arthur. Yeah.
You see it, right?
The running game, though, man. Do you want to start with the pass protection with Broderick Jones or the running game? Keep it on the offensive side.
I was going to ask, did you want to go full positives on both sides first, and then we start getting into the nitty gritty of it? Or do you want to just hit offense first, and then we hit defense? This is our first time doing this one for a regular season.
Let's keep the Kool-Aid
and y'all hit that like
rolling
button while you edit. Don't forget to subscribe either if you're new to the channel. All right, like it up, subscribe. Y'all know what time we on.
Let's keep the Kool-Aid rolling, and we'll do that the Yinzer chat as well, Arthur, for the people who are kind enough to add their 2 cents worth to this conversation. On the defensive side of the ball, I'll go here, and I can't underscore Chris Boswell's contributions nearly enough in this game either. Like the
Wizard of Oz, baby.
A serial killer kicker. I love that quote from Tomlin. New Tomlinism dropped on Sunday too. I love it. I'm going to go here. Jalen Ramsey in breaking up the pass play to Garrett Wilson at the very end. And it wasn't just that play. It was a play that he got flagged on, trying to make a tackle to force the play back inside in terms of exactly how you're taught to go through the defender. And even if they flag you, Arthur, maybe I'm of the old school, they say player safety and we can't blow out players' knees. If you're a corner and there's a guy who's got at least 50 pounds on you, maybe 100 pounds, what about the player safety there? I would tell any young player, if you're trying to watch a cornerback and learn how to become a sound fundamental tackler, watch Jalen Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
The ferocity he plays with, Arthur, I'm going to be honest with you. I was familiar with his work with the Rams, with the Dolphins. I hadn't watched him that closely until Sunday's game. The ferocity he plays with in tackling, in the want to tackle, because we see a lot of corners who are just in it for the interceptions. If you're a young defensive back or a young player and you want to learn how to properly play on an island, that position, pop on the tape and pop on Jalen Ramsey.
Listen, there was a reason why a lot of the, alumni dudes, man, football dudes got excited when Ramsey was the guy that we traded for. No, discredit to what Minka has done, but they are two just very different players. And when you talk about Ramsey's versatility with his athleticism, his side, his explosiveness, and like you said, that desire to be physical, that is what you get from start to finish. You watch him, whether he was in the pass game or in the running game, a physical tackler. He's fitting you up the right way, driving back, knockback tackler. You also see him in coverage, super smart player, but then you see how he takes on blocks, how he takes on lead blockers. The play they got flagged, like you said, it's a clinic tape for how, as a DB, to engage, in, especially with the ball carried directly behind him while protecting yourself. We didn't look at that and say that was a penalty. I looked at that and said, official, you got to understand what that situation was. If he's cutting that guy, I think it's very different. He's going to make a play, though.
Here's
he's
the thing, Arthur. That's a rule I totally disagree with. And if I were a coach, I would still say, go ahead and flag my team all the way down the field, because when you talk about when the receiver's cracking down on either the edge or the linebacker, and you have a guard, a tackle, a fullback, someone who's outweighing you, I'd say force the play back inside. Force the referee to throw the penalty. And there he's clearly going for the tackle. So
he's going for
that's
a tackle,
even besides the point. But it's just like, in terms of the want to and wanting to stick your face in the fire, man, like that's just something that you don't always see when you talk about corners. And I don't fault offensive teams for saying, you know what, let's get our skill position guys up against corners, because they're probably the poorest tacklers on the field compared to the other 10.
Most offenses, that's what you're trying to get. You're not looking for, oh man, they blew the run fit. No. You're trying to get your running back on their corner or on their safety. That's what you want, because 9 times out of 10, that guy's going to miss the tackle because he doesn't want to hit you. He does not want to do that every single time. We've seen some of our guys in the past go through that phase where we're like, all right, now you're going to have to tackle better than that, man. That's the nasty part of playing corner. That's the nasty part of playing in the secondary, but that's part of why offenses can't exploit that, and why, some of these premier backs are who they are, when we're like, yeah, you got to make that guy miss. When you can start consistently either running through or running by corners and safeties, that's the Saquons, the Derrick Henrys of the world. But until you consistently do that, that's what stops also those explosive runs, them 10, 15 yarders. And that's why they turn into just 5 yards or 3 yards. And we're like, hey, man, you got to make that guy miss, baby.
It's just impressive from what I saw from Ramsey. And the film study as well is something I want to point out, where positioning himself exactly where he needed to be, being able to hit Garrett Wilson on the decisive play of the game at the exact right time, leading with his shoulder, not having illegal contact or helmet to helmet to where you have a potentially targeting penalty. That is, it's preparation and having confidence in your preparation as well, in terms of knowing what the other team is going to run before they want to run it. And that comes from being a veteran player, a Pro Bowl player, an All-Pro player, and a Super Bowl champion. And that's what I saw from Jalen Ramsey yesterday, with what was one of the few bright spots on defense for a Jets team that moved the ball up and down, scoring on their first 4 drives of the game yesterday.
No, you're absolutely right. And I will say that was probably the best sequence of calls that Terrell Lawson and the defense actually executed together as well. Throughout the game, man, specifically on defense, we'll get to the negatives of it. It was some week 1 early stuff that was taking place, and we're going to for sure talk about it. But I will say, on that last drive, man, when we're talking about mixing up the calls, when you're talking about utilizing the Jalen Ramseys of the world, the Patrick Queens, the Peyton Wilsons, all the different athleticism that they have out there. But also it's like, man, okay, first play of that series is a blitz. Second play, it looks like a blitz, but it's not. They're all in coverage, just hugging their guys. The third play, the play that you're speaking of, where Jalen Ramsey gets the big hit, they make it like it's a blitz. It literally is 3-man rush. But because he brings the corner and drops out Keanu Benton, it's like, whoa, what's this? PQ drops out. And it's like, man, you're throwing right to where Jalen Ramsey is sitting. And that was the beauty of it as well. I'm like, okay, not only is Jalen Ramsey so fundamentally sound, athletically gifted, and makes these plays, but now when we zoom it out even more, look at the big picture, it's like, man, you were setting this up 2 plays ago. When you sent that blitz early, you were setting it up because you knew you wanted to go 3-man rush. He gonna throw into coverage because Phil's up until that point, it was like, man, he's had all day, right? Or he's been able to extend plays by making some guys miss. So it's like, man, what can we do to confuse him, to just slow him down a little bit? And you look on that series, you saw a little bit more of that finally in the game. And it turned out that, man, it was just the right time for us to get out of that stadium, man. So I do like that part, but yeah, that defense. Ooh, baby, we got to talk about them now. We got to talk about them.
I think you bring up a good point because I've seen Terrell Austin get a little bit of heat today on social media, and I think that they finally got exotic with some of the blitzes on that final drive to where just the talent and the money that you're spending on the defense. I'm not saying just trot out your 11 guys out there and you're going to win every single play man on man, but you would think with the stars on this defense, you wouldn't need to really scheme up a whole lot of exotic blitzes, especially going up against Justin Fields, who I think is a nice. Go ahead, Arthur.
But this is why I always say that differs, though. Actually, with the way that Justin Fields in that offense is designed right now, especially in week 1, you have to be almost super vanilla, and it's like, man, if you're not. All it takes is one person being out of their gap, and that's where you're seeing the 7-yard, the 10-yard, the 20-yard. And that happened frequently. And it was like, man, less is more, especially versus that type of offense. No different playing against Baltimore. It truly becomes just, are you better than the man across from you? But we're going to get to these parts where these rough parts were happening. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like, yo, we are not that. Why are you doing that?
The rushing yards was troubling. The Jets had the ball for almost 35 minutes, 182 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground too. So I don't think this is the same Jets team we've seen year in, year out. A lot of teams take on the identity of their coach, and you know that physicality and that toughness that the Jets are going to want to take on with Aaron Glenn. I'm very happy the Steelers got out of this game. And like the glass half empty perspective is like you needed a 60-yard field goal and a 56-yard field goal from your kicker to escape yesterday. So like if that's where it's like glass half empty, I'm like, man, but the defense, and this is why I'm excited though, is because Rodgers overcame all of this without hardly any running game at all. And a Steelers defense that I don't think played all that well against a Jets team that was able to move the ball up and down on the Steelers defense throughout the course of the afternoon.
Yeah, so when I look at it, man, it was like this, especially on defense. Number 1, Fields and Breece Hall played really well. Let's make sure we give them credit and respect what they were doing. That part for sure. In terms of some of the things that Phil's doing with the pass rush, because there were times, man, where you'll see Alex Highsmith winning. You'll see TJ Watt come with some pressure. And it's like, oh, he's able to step up here, get out of here, and really good. Very similar to what we were seeing from him last year, keeping eyes downfield, hitting guys, right? Those are some of the things that really put challenges on. The Breece Hall element, we can go down the list. First play that spits, inside linebacker. Second long run that spits, interior D lineman. Third long run that spits, outside linebacker. Fourth long run that spits, inside linebacker. You look up and you're like, man, why is Breece Hall having this type of success? It's that. It wasn't a mystical call. It's literally everything is happening fast because now it's regular season. And in training camp, when you're in your gap and it's moving, it's practice, it's not as fast. Regular season, man, them dudes over there, they getting paid money to do it too. And that's the difference. And it's not even a big space. When I tell you, I can show you in the spot from this being the guy in the gap versus him being out the gap, but that's the area where Breece Hall is hitting. It's literally that. And that's the thing why I was saying is week 1. Because you look at that and you go back on the tape and you're saying, man, this isn't anything that's big that we have to fix, right? We weren't out here saying, man, we blowing calls, man. Guys blitz when they're supposed to be covering, guys cover when they're supposed to be blitzing. That wasn't the issue. But those little things versus the Jets will get you beat. Rodgers put on the cape. It was good to see offense do what it did. It was good to see Boz hit a 60+ and a 56. It was good to see us get a special teams turnover. but are those things that you can genuinely count on and bank on? No. So that's the reason why you have to be critical at times of that part. But that's the side where it's like, there were still some positives. There was some positives, but some negatives in there. But it's like you see where you can improve. But at the same time, you feel almost reassured that it's easy to identify these issues, because at times in the past, when we have to say it's popcorn, it's like, man, we don't know who or what. It's like, man, everything is bad. The call is bad. It's like, that wasn't what I got to watching this one, man. That was definitely not what I got. So that was the part that I was like, man, let's see what it looks like week 2 now. Let's see how that looks, man, when it's a little bit more of a traditional offense also, and not the Justin Fields. He can zone read you if you want to. He can RPO you if you want to. Heck, we saw him just pull it on a QB draw one time. We're like, whoa, that's not what you're about to see when you play Seattle. So that's the part where I will be expecting this defense to look a lot better, and running defense wise should be a lot better because there's less things that you're looking at.
See, you're watching the game, Arthur, through the lens in which you played it as the linebacker. When I listened to all of that there, and I listened to the pain and frustration in your voice with that of just being able to stop the run, because that's where it starts at the linebacker position.
It's simple stuff, man.
And I got a Justin Fields stat. His teams are 0-23 now when the opposing team scores 21 points or more. That's incredible.
What?
That's insane. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's
that is interesting. Dang.
I don't think that's all his fault.
I would agree, but
man,
very
that's
interesting, man.
Telling.
Sheesh.
The run defense, the first 4 drives giving up points. It's like, I will say this. On the other side of the ball, it was like, whoa, we scored on the first drive of the game, Arthur. Oh, man. I was like, any skepticism I had of the Aaron Rodgers era for the lone season we're going to get him has evaporated away, going right down the field.
Facts.
But the defense going into halftime 19-17 with virtually no running game.
Right.
You don't get those things shored up defensively with the premium that you're paying. It could be troublesome. Let me know when you want to go back on the offensive side of the ball, Arthur.
No, I did. So we're about to. I did want to ask though, because I was laughing to myself as the game was going on, because obviously offense was cooking, defense was struggling, and I was like, man, so is this what it feels like these past couple of years, where we're just like, defense played great, offense, if you could give me the last 2 minutes, we're gonna call you great, man. Just get out the stadium, because that's kind of what it felt like. It was like, offense, y'all keep scoring, y'all keep holding us. Defense, just give us a stop. Defense gave us a stop. See all these Jalen Ramsey high. I'm like, you know what? This is what it's like. I can take this on occasion, because we haven't really been experienced that. It's been a lot of the others. So that part was a little bit refreshing, man, in terms of offense, man, stepping up the way that they did, man. But yeah, let's talk about this offense, though. Let's talk about them.
What's your panic level of Broderick Jones at left tackle? I know it's his first start, but like 0 to 10, where are you at, man?
For Broderick, I would say 3.5. And the reason why I say 3.5 is this. The sacks that he gave up, the first sack to me was on Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, man, Rodgers holding the ball. He steps up. Broderick is anchoring versus a bull rush. Do you give up some movement on the anchor? Yeah. But when you're anchoring and a guy steps up to you, that's the part that sucks. Now, in terms of the Will McDonald beating him inside, Will McDonald, I talked about him ahead of the game. You say, yo, Will McDonald's a problem. Will McDonald's a good player in this league, man. You watch what he did last year, 10.5. Watch what he's going to do this year, man. He is going to continue to be a double-digit sack guy. Quinnen Williams. You think Quinnen Williams was the only, Broderick was the only person that Quinnen Williams had his way with? No. You watch him in that running game, he threw every single interior lineman multiple times. That's Quinnen Williams. So when I looked at that, I'm like, okay, matchup, I don't like any of that. But if those are the two, if it's Will McDonald and Quinnen Williams are the guys that's beating you, it can't be Michael Clemens. It can't be him. It can't be Jermaine Johnson. But if it's just those two, I could live with that. And I also said to myself, this is also why I look at my coordinator and I say, man, you know what you're dealing with up front, make it right. And I thought he did do that. You look at the screen passes, the quick throws, you look at the pocket movement, very thoughtful. So if the handful of times it's like, man, how many times do I need you to hold up? For the handful of times that we needed him, he did that. But as a whole, he has to be better. And we would agree about that. But I'm like, if this is your first real start at left tackle in the NFL and Will McDonald and Quentin Williams were the two that beat you, I could live with that personally. So that's why I said 3.5, man. I'm not crazy about it, but let's see what it looks like next week. Next week is not Will McDonald and Quentin Williams. It should look better. But Will McDonald and Quentin Williams, they're going to do that to a lot more people this year. I guarantee it, because that's been what they've done. And especially even last year with Will McDonald, man. He is a pass rate. He's a dude that is productive. He is about to break out, man. I mean, he already broke out last year, but he's about to go even more this year, man.
What is the commonality with McDonald, Quentin Williams? No love for Jermaine Johnson, but the commonality, all first round picks.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Very true.
So
I didn't even think about that. He said no love for Jermaine Johnson. Hey,
it's okay.
Shout out to Jermaine Johnson. I like Jermaine Johnson. He looked cool with his 11 on. All right, it's just as a pass rush, I'm like, yo, Broderick, you got to block that one. All right. If that could win, I can make it. I can get past that one because I've seen him do a lot of dudes bad. I haven't seen Jermaine Johnson or Michael Clemens have this like laundry list of just, he got a sack on that guy, that guy, that guy. You know, I watch the Bills a lot, so I see Will McDonald. I know what that is. I'm very familiar with that, man. You're lying to yourself if you don't think he's good, man.
I'm like a 6 out of 10 with Broderick right now. I do want to see.
Talk to me. Let's do it. Talk to me.
It's not even so much anything like how the Steelers have handled this up until this point is on the organization, more so on Broderick. Came into this year in great shape. I mean, you could physically see the shape that he was in going in this year into training camp compared to previous years. So I don't doubt his lack of preparation. It's the way that the Steelers have handled it. And then it's like, it has a lot to do with Aaron Rodgers at his phase of his career and his mobility, where it's like with Rodgers, it's like he's got the arm of a 30-year-old still, but the legs are more like they seem closer to 50. Like it's a bit of a hyperbole, but he can't move around like he used to be able to. And so, yeah, I'm pumped that they have a 4-touchdown performance and he lights up his former team. I'm worried about this, say, come week 10, week 12, later on in the year when you have, to use a Tomlinism, the attrition of a season of how that weighs on a player. And so that it makes me nervous, Arthur. It just does. It is something we need a larger sample size of. But
I was just about to say, wait, when you said week 10, I'm like, well, when we get to week 10, I think this is a very different conversation.
I hope.
By week 4, this is a very different conversation. Week 1, and you heard the two guys that said he went against, and he do it versus the other ones. That's why I'm like, let's see what this week look like coming up, because it's going to give us more information. It's very easy to hit the panic button on Broderick because the history that he's had at right tackle. But he's not at right tackle right now. He's at left tackle. And I'm looking at him and clearly say, yo, this is a blank slate, because all preseason, he didn't look bad at all. In fact, he looked really good. But we would also agree that the best opponent that he probably went against was Josh Hines-Allen down in Jacksonville. And we know that in the preseason, there's still questions about, okay, how, passionate were those defenders playing? We can't say yay or nay to that, but those are always things that are underlining it. So this was his real first test. So it's like, man, all right, it wasn't perfect. In fact, for him as an individual, he should be great in saying, man, I have to be way better than that. I'm just simply saying, man, as the guy that looked in his, all right, check, minus, blocked him good. And I go down that whole list and I'm like, man, so you mean to tell me the bad plays were the Quentin Williams and the Will McDonald? I get it. I shouldn't come up here and say that, right? Because it's way easy to just say, hey, man, he gave up them sacks. It was terrible. Get him out of there. I'm looking and I'm saying, well, all these other plays where he blocked them dudes, all them other plays where in the run game it was good, I'm taking him out and I'm putting Andre Speed in there. Nothing against him, but to me, I think Broderick gives me more of that right now.
You can't do that.
That's my whole issue. So I'm like, the alternatives are we can protect him a little bit more with tight end over there if it's a matchup that we feel uncomfortable with. But the play that he got beat on, it wasn't even a you need help. It was a, you overset on a Will McDonald beat you inside, and the others couldn't get up out of here. That's different. Like I said, man, Rodgers
PFF's got him down as giving up 3 sacks and 4 pressures.
The third. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
But I'm going to say this too: 53 yards rushing as a whole. That is where, and I'll never question how hard Jalen Warren runs. I'm never going to question that.
Yeah.
I actually like in a vacuum, I also liked some of the things that Kenneth Gainwell did out of the backfield. But that rushing total and then expect to see Rodgers do this game after game after game after game, that is not a recipe for success.
Absolutely not.
So
We know our
beyond
O-line.
Broderick, everyone else
Yeah.
has to look at that and say, all right, what can we do to get the running game going? And then you talk about the passing game opening up
Yeah.
with what Arthur Smith wants to do in the play action. That would take care of itself. But 53 yards as a team overall,
Yeah.
that number's got to improve.
And it was interesting watching them versus the run. You heard me talk about Quentin Williams. You heard me say that Broderick wasn't the only one he did dirty. We don't like to focus on the run part of run blocking. We just look and say, man, hey, man, he got tackled. You watch Quentin Williams and how he was handling the people attempting to block him. And that's a big reason why some of his runs look the way that they did. It's like, yo, I'm watching him hit the puller. He doesn't make the tackle, but he literally hits the puller, stops the puller dead in his tracks, right into the running back. And then the other guy comes off the block, makes tackle. And it's like, what do we do with this, man? But
like
that's when
assist.
But that's when I look and I say, yeah, for those that don't know, Quentin Williams is their version of Cam Hayward, except he's a lot younger right now and he feels great. He's an all pro type of dude. But you could see that part of it. And that was where I looked and I said, okay, I see why Arthur Smith is trying to do some of the quick screens, the perimeter stuff, even the toss play, right? But it's like when you start doing that, I don't feel like we have the personnel for those type of runs, or at least we weren't calling them with the people that I thought. I was expecting more of the Jalen Warren types to get those runs. It was a little bit more Kenneth Gainwell heavy. That surprised me a little bit. And then I thought when we were going to try to attack on the interior part, it would be more of the big back Caleb Johnson, but that wasn't the case. So I wasn't necessarily in love with how we matched our personnel with some of the actual run calls. And that's why I was saying, okay, maybe you're trying to get a little bit too cute here. But I like the way that they were attacking them in terms of using the tight end and even the 12 personnel or 11 personnel where it was one tight end out there, right? Darnell Washington or Darnell and Jonnu Smith, but they'll bring in Ben Skronik. And if you haven't watched, Ben Skronik blocks like a daggone tight end at times. And they would have some success doing that. But it was just, man, when Quentin decided that, yeah, you're not running in this gap, that became an issue. And then you start seeing runners try to bubble to the outside. And now we're playing that game of, are our running backs better than their linebackers? And they got two really good linebackers as well, man. They can scrape sideline to sideline. And I thought that was what really showed versus the run game. But I thought the difference, once again, and you already brought it up, was Aaron Rodgers. Years past, prior to Ben Roethlisberger, we haven't had a quarterback that we could say, you know what, regardless of this running game, regardless of how good y'all guys are playing defensively, my arm is good enough, my brain is good enough, and I understand how to manipulate this coverage. And that was what we started to see from Rodgers. And even though it wasn't in the traditional, just drop back, we saw it in what? Play action pass. Let's move the pocket. Let's hit a DK on the crossing. Let's hit a Calvin. That type of method. But that was where we're seeing the Arthur Smith element of it. And it's like, man, this is how this offense can work. But that is still going to only get you so far if you can't run the ball effectively. And that's where we're looking at running backs and the interior part of this O-line and saying, y'all got to be better, man.
Yeah, it's another thing, too. I mentioned the TOP, the time of possession. Yeah. One thing I noticed is Rodgers taking the clock down a lot towards the very end. So why was that? The Steelers couldn't really run the ball that effectively. So to make sure he could keep his offense on the field, this is something where Mike Tomlin has talked about. Rodgers is his game management ability. Like, Arthur, you played defense, right? The teams that you played on that could run the ball to where you could just get your 3 and outs and chill on the sidelines. Yep. How much less stressful that is when you had a running game and you're not stuck on the field for down after down after down, possession after possession after possession. Rodgers' game management ability to say, okay, I know that the running game's not there today, but when I am completing passes and removing the chains, I'm going to make sure I can do everything that I can do to make sure our offense stays on the field in terms of trying to win time of possession, in terms of the importance of that. I think that it takes on more importance throughout the course of the season. But again, when you only have 53 rushing yards and you don't get absolutely killed in time of possession, I mean, 35 to 25 is not great, but again, you had no running game.
No running game.
But what does that do from the defensive standpoint, Arthur? As a former
I was
player,
gonna say, man, a couple of things is this though, man. It's like obviously when you're talking about just time of possession, it matters, right? The breaks you get when you're able to sit on the sideline. The best defense is the defense that's not on the field, man. Because man, we already know at this level the dudes are great offensively. But the other thing is this: Aaron Rodgers taking that ball and waiting until the play clock is down to the 1 or 3, 2, 1. What is making you do also defensively is mentally get fatigued because you have to be locked in. And this is one of the things I would say, Arthur Smith, I really like what he's doing this year. So much pre-snap movement, whether we're talking shifts, whether we're talking motions. And even though it's window dressing for a vanilla play in terms of some of the run stuff, his ability to make the defenses have to adjust. Or one of the things that I really enjoyed, every time you would see him in the shotgun, you would see the running back hurry up and run like he was about to run to the sideline, and then he slowly come back. And all they're checking is zone man. If that linebacker sprints over there, I got you as man. If that linebacker doesn't move and he just talks, it's zone. He would line Kenneth Gainwell up to the weak side, have him shift to the front side real quick, see what's going to happen. Oh, okay, he's going to have the tight end line up to the front side. Okay, he's going to go to the back side. Then they're going to motion back over here. It's the exact same formation, but now they just they flip-flop the personnel. But defensively, those are 3 different checks. Close left, reload, scramble, 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 close right, rip, rip, hey, easy, white, ball snap. Imagine now if you're tired, if you're young, and you're trying to process that information, all it takes is you being out your gap one time. And that's all he's hunting. That was the part that I was just like, man, when you have the person calling it, but then you also have the person that can run it and actually maximize it, that's why you're able to score 34 points in the first game of the season with the group that we had a lot of questions about and still have questions about. We're not looking at this offense saying, man, they scored 34 points. We feel great. No, we're like, hey, O-line, bro, we still got to be better. Hey, running game wise, y'all got to be a lot better. And it's like, yeah, you scored 34 points? Like, what? But when you think about all those different variables, that's why that Jets defense is a good defense as well. Don't get it twisted. Don't think that, oh, man, it's the Jets. No, man, that team is going to be competitive. If they can stay healthy, man, and just those players like how he played, they're going to be competitive. But it also shows the level of talent that we have. When you talk about an Aaron Rodgers, when you talk about a DK Metcalf, you talk about those type of dudes, Calvin also stepping up the way that he did. It's like, man, if those guys are going to play like that, and I don't think what we saw yesterday is asking too much of a DK and a Calvin. Heck, even when Rodgers to an extent, it wasn't like he was sitting back that joint, 5-wide shotgun, just wheeling and dealing. It was very much within the confines of the offense. I don't feel like there was anything that we're looking and saying, oh, that's fluky. Outside of the DK, the pass hit him, it bounces off the guy and comes back to him. I'm just like, that was probably the most fluky thing that we saw. Other than that, I'm like, this was efficient, just offensive play. Wasn't perfect, but it was efficient. And that's something that you can lean on.
And I mentioned the Bengals game from a year ago right off the top against one of the weaker defenses in the NFL. They're going to have a new defensive coordinator this year. No, I'm serious. I'm serious.
Trust me, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
In terms of it not being fluky, and we'll see what happens here in week 2, week 3,
that's
week
why
4.
I had to laugh because I'm like, we know what that Bengals defense was. We know what that is. All right. That was bad.
It was like the last cusp of last season of any type of success that the Steelers had. Lost the last 5 games last year, including the playoffs. So it's like, in terms of it being fluky, where it's like, okay, it's against Cincinnati. Like, come on now. Like, don't get too excited about a 400-yard game from Russell Wilson a year ago. And here's the thing. Is the passing game going to be as strong against other teams? Maybe, maybe not. But then you expect the running game to be more stout because you're not going up against, again, 3 different players who are first-round draft picks.
Yeah.
So that's what you're looking at if you're from Pittsburgh's standpoint. There are a lot of
3 first-rounders, and one is a bona fide all-pro. The other guy's a stud. And you're like, bro, what is this? And then, like you said, I disrespect the other first round. Just like, oh, hey, he ain't sexy enough as a first round. He's just really good. Okay, he's not great. He's just really, really good. Yeah, it's like, come on, man.
The aggregators, Arthur Moats, not a fan of Jermaine Johnson.
With all due respect to his game, all right? Jeez.
yeah, not a fan.
Game.
With all due respect to his game, yeah. Oh man.
But as a whole, though, man,
where do we go from here? Here, Arthur?
But I would just say though,
a little bit
in terms of main takeaways, though, right?
Mm.
What was your main? If you said, man, leaving out of this thing, I felt good about this, I felt not good about this, but going forward, man, this where we're going to be.
If you can keep Rodgers upright and healthy and not running for his life, you have a quarterback who can keep you in a game with pretty much anybody. Now, what does that look like in future weeks when he's banged up and, his 21 years in the league adds up over time? I don't know, but for one game and for 1 week, it's like we saw something a Steelers quarterback do again that we really haven't seen, if we're being honest with ourselves, since 2017 when Roethlisberger was doing his thing pre-elbow injury. Yeah. That was the biggest takeaway that I had. And man, are the Steelers lucky to have an all-pro kicker and just Chris Boswell. Think about what the Steelers record would be without him as the kicker for the last several years.
Come on now.
I got nervous. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I have all the confidence in the world in him, but when he lined up and he was on the Jets logo at midfield, I'm like, I don't know about this, man. Like, it's
like legit
on the logo. Think about
man.
how different our conversation would be right now if he misses that kick from 60.
Very different.
To steal your line, Arthur, center cut.
Very different.
With room to spare.
With room.
So
room.
I guess the question I have, Arthur, you said my biggest takeaway. What is this conversation today if Boswell misses not just that kick, again, a 56-yarder as well? We're just shortchanging that. What's that conversation like today if he misses either of those field goals? I think it's, man, was this all worth it? I don't think we're blaming Rodgers at all. What's wrong with the running game? This young offensive line we spent so much draft capital in isn't what it needs to be to this point. Overpaid.
People wouldn't be saying pay Boss.
We would be saying that today.
And people wouldn't be saying pay Boss, because that has for sure been everybody's narrative now. Pay Boss. Whatever Boss needs, you pay Boss. That for sure wouldn't have been the case if he doesn't hit 56 and 60. But this is why you pay Boss. This is why you got Boss. This is talent acquisition, baby. We don't complain and say, well, what if we never had TJ Watt? No, we say we found TJ Watt. Because if I remember correctly, I was on the roster. We went on there and got Chris Boswell. And yeah, he was doing the little kicks in the rain at the stadium, doing the little tryouts. All right. So yeah, we found that one. So I think that, man, you get to claim all of that comes with that. So I think this is a great fact that he's on the roster right now. That's why you have that guy. That's why you got TJ Watt. That's why you got Cam Hayward. He is a weapon. We've seen weapons at special teams. We've been in a division with Justin Tucker for how long, right? We know what that was when you play Baltimore. So I don't look at it as a negative. I look at it as, man, I am so glad we have that guy, because he has shown now over the past however many years, outside of the growing injury season, this dude is one of the most consistent, clutch, and accurate kickers in the NFL, man. So lean into it.
Yeah. I just think about it. The cynic in me is like, we had to get a 60-yard field goal from our kicker to escape the Jets. I do think that this Jets team, I don't know if it'll be this year, but almost like how the Lions were, that's where Aaron Glenn's coming over for, where they were frisky. The year before they made the playoffs and went on the run, they were like right on the cusp. And that back half of the year when no one in the NFL wanted to play them, it's like, oh my gosh, is this team going to backdoor its way in to the playoffs? I think the Jets might be like that this year. And then in year 2 of Aaron Glenn, you'd be like, man, this is a team that no one wants to play. And I thought
you can
Justin
see they've taken on his identity, man. Yes. You can see it. They are not the same Jets. Right. They are not the same old Jets, man.
When he's trying to will his team and they're running the ball down the Steelers' throats, I'm honestly surprised they didn't go for it on 4th down. And I'm
with you.
Flexing with his Breece Hall. I was shocked they didn't go for it on that first drive.
I for sure thought they were. The way he was hyped up, the way that he was, like you said, the Breece Hall flex on the side. I'm like, okay, yeah, they're about to they don't care. It's that type of time. I wonder if he could do it again when he changed his mind now, though. Because I'm looking at that call, I was like, I thought he let us off the hook by kicking the field goal. I
Yes.
personally did not think we were going to stop him.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, he's about to run this, he's about to score, and it's about to feel real different in here right now. Them kicking the field goal, to me, felt like a win for the defense. It's like, oh, it's 3 points. Woo! Then we turned around and scored. It was like, oh, all right, this is better now.
And other than TJ, TJ had the huge hit on Fields. I thought he had some nice plays in the backfield, but I'm trying to draw on the positives of defensively. A lot of things that you want shored up. Deshaun Elliott, I'm worried about his injury.
Yeah, that looks nasty.
See if we get any update when Mike Tomlin speaks with reporters on Tuesday. I know Joey Porter Jr. left the game with the hamstring, and then Malik Harrison left the game as well.
Yeah.
Remember, Derek Carmen didn't play, Nick Herbig didn't play either. So if you get either of those players in the coming weeks back into the mix too, that certainly helps your team defensively.
And at least Herbig was practicing, right? We did see that. So we know he's closer rather than, being out longer.
But other than Watt and then Ramsey, I'm like, defensively, I'm like, again, the highest paid NFL defense by a wide margin. They should be thanking Aaron Rodgers today, or if your team is like, Aaron, thanks so much, man. Like, it's just
absolutely.
It's a team game,
but this is also I was about to say that's why it's a team game. And we know it's not always going to be perfect, but you always have to make the plays when it's time to make the plays. Sometimes the flow of the game is going to be defense is stonewalling teams, and we need a drive from the offense. Give us a drive. And then clearly you can see it's times where it's going to be like how it was yesterday, where it's, hey, offense, man, y'all got them going, man. Y'all playing well, man. Let's go. Defense, we in a fight right now. Whew. They got us, man. We trying to figure it out. Buy us some time. But we got you when we got to have it, and we saw that. So we've also talked about special teams. Hey, man, it's time for special teams. We say, at least in Pittsburgh, we talk about 3 phases of football. We look at that and say, why can't you make a play on special teams? We've been talking about this since Rosie Nix, since Darius Hayward Bay. I mean, we not about to act like we don't look at that and say, yo, we feel like we can make plays there. It's not necessarily that something that you can bank on every game. They're saying, well, you can't bank on your quarterback throwing for 4 touchdowns every game. But it's the mindset. It's the mindset that we are playmakers. You're not just out there just to do it. You're not just out there because, oh, man, I got to do it. It's a formality. No, you're trying to make something happen. And I think, man, if they keep that mindset while staying healthy, we can see what they could do. Because like you said, just yesterday, when the money side wasn't the best side and the side that had all the questions gave you 34 points along with an opening drive touchdown, something that we ain't seen in ages. And we still have questions about wide receiver 2. And it's like, that was what we did yesterday? If that's the floor, if that's the bare minimum, heck, O-line, if that's the worst y'all play and we're only going to get better from here, yeah. To me, I'm optimistic about that because I know what that was yesterday. And that wasn't an easy thing to get out of it. You hit it on the head. Name the quarterback that's not named Aaron Rodgers or not named Big Ben that gets you out of that stadium yesterday, man. With the flow going the way that it's flowing between them, which is the quarterback? Was it Kenny was going to get you out of there? Was it Mason? With all due respect, was it Skylar Thompson? Right? Was it Kyle Allen? Are we going with Duck Hodges? Which one was the one that was going? Maybe it was my guy Trubisky, right? It was Trubisky who was going to get us out of that one. Y'all tell me which one it was going to be because I'm looking at this thing like But once again, we made the crazy move in free agency, waiting forever, and the wait was worth it. This is why you wait as long as they waited. This is why you don't say, man, I'm pissed off with Rodgers because he's taking too long. F you, I'm going with Mason. F you, I'm going with this guy. No, this is what he brings if he's healthy.
Hey,
you look at the last 5 games of him last year. Well, I was saying, even the last 5 games of him last year with the Jets, you saw him look good. And that was the other part where it's like, yo, this is what you wanted right here, man. This is what you should be expecting from him because this is who Rodgers is when he is healthy.
It's not lost on me, not including incentives, that the Steelers are also paying Aaron Rodgers less than what Justin Fields is making as quarterback
Crazy.
Of the Jets. In a one game where, okay, you need to win the game, who you got? I would take Rodgers for this season at least. I know Justin Fields has several more years left. I'm still taking Rodgers over Fields. I am. It sounds silly, but and again, it's not lost to me from Pittsburgh standpoint. Was it 14 and some change, and Fields is getting 20 and some change? I look at that Sunday night football game last night. I was looking at things league wide too. that
Yeah.
Sunday night football game, and I know we don't have to play Baltimore for several more weeks, in Buffalo, and I'm just like, they are just a class above where Pittsburgh is at right now in terms of their ability just to do whatever they please offensively. Both teams, man.
Yeah.
Both teams.
Yeah. I was like, the only people that's stopping them are themselves. That was it. Because, yeah. But that's the part where we're like, yo, we'll get to that. We got to get to that. Every team isn't that. Seattle for sure isn't that. Either one of them. All right. So that's why you just focus on the one that's in front of us. We can get this one that's in front of us right here, baby. Because,
DK revenge game. That narrative is already, I mean, because you knew Rodgers. Here's the thing, too, I get psyched about looking at the Steelers schedule.
Yeah.
Rodgers has another redemption game because remember, the Steelers play the Packers as well later this year. So we get another Rodgers like, hey, let's turn back the clock and find the fountain of youth at least one more time. So it's like,
that's the one he wants more than his Jets one, too.
Totally agree.
Real. He wants that way more. Oh, man.
He even said, he's like, I only spent like 2 years here and I only played, 18 games or whatever it was in the Jets. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you knew he would get booed. That was pretty incredible, too. So it's like, you knew that was going to be coming. But you just see the way that he was celebrating on the one touchdown. He's got the fist pump going up.
You see the right. I was like, oh, he gave me. I was like, you ain't done that since Green Bay, man. There you go. Yeah.
Bring back the dust count double check while we're at it, Arthur.
One time for the culture. Let's get it. Hey, well, I did hear you bring us some incentives. Shout out to incentives, though, man. Mm-hmm. If incentives is what it took to get the deal done, I'm happy. Glad that Cam was back, man. It was good to see him out there, man. We appreciate him being out there, man. Yeah, we need him. We're going to need him. We're going to need him to get that D-line picked up also, man, and be a lot more consistent in there. But shout out to Cam being out there, though, man. It was good to see the dog out there, man.
We were really close to seeing a big man interception. What was it? Keanu Benton very nearly had it.
You seen it?
I always like to see a big man rumble down the field or make a diving interception, get on his feet, and then let's just get a brigade of blockers around the big man.
And let me get a celebration as fire also. Big men always got the best celebrations, man. Like, yo, just cut him. I know you're going to cut him in there, man.
I know this has nothing to do with the Steelers game. Did you see that celebration the Colts player had in the end zone?
Oh, what was they with it? Yeah, I was like, yo. That's when it hit me. I was like, okay, baby, I'm getting a little older because I missed that one. I was like, I gotta tap into this. I was like, yo, this is crazy. I like it though. It's fire. Mm-hmm.
It was incredible. It's like football's back. It's the soap opera for men. It's what we all need.
Cut up, man. Have fun with it. I'm waiting on the Vikings to give me something, man. The Vikings usually got some crazy celebrations as well, man. All right, so it's like that. Okay, it's like that.
Yeah, I in the coming weeks want to see DK revenge game. See Roman Wilson get into the mix with this passing game, get more of the tight ends involved as well. We mentioned getting the running game going. The snap distribution. Gainwell had more snaps than Jalen Warren. I know Caleb Johnson only had 2 snaps.
Yeah, that was the running back snap distribution was for sure interesting to see. I think that they'll be more intentional about that next week, though. Definitely have to be because to me, you give the money to Jalen Warren. Jalen Warren needs to get more of those opportunities. And if not, I do think for the interior run game to be what we want it to be, that's more Caleb Johnson.
But to me, that signals
snaps. I think we got to give him a little bit more.
To me, what that signals, Arthur, is they don't trust him in pass protection yet. That's to me what that okay, why isn't he out there?
Yeah,
I'm already seeing stuff where they're like, go ahead, Arthur.
Well, I don't say the other part is this: ball security. That matters. We recovered it, but he put it on the ground. Again, this is the second time that we've seen the ball come out. Even though we've recovered, it's like, man, you can't put that ball in that ground, man. And that is for sure something that will make Coach Tomlin not play a young dude, man, in terms of putting that ball in his hands because it matters too much. And that for sure is something that we know and we preach here in Pittsburgh, man. When you got that football, in the words of Coach Tomlin, you are carrying our hopes and our dreams, man. So that's another part that it's like, man, I've seen it. It's like, we recovered it, so we're getting lucky here. But, dude, you can't put that ball on the ground, man.
Yeah. Just knowing how the Steelers have played rookies as well, Caleb Johnson's contributions to this team in this season, I think, will come after the bye week as more weeks go by than the front half of the season. I wouldn't expect to see, barring injury, knocking on wood here.
Come on, man.
Barring injury, I wouldn't expect to see much of Caleb Johnson the first 4 weeks of the season from an offensive standpoint. We'll see how he does in the kick return game. I'm already seeing stuff on Twitter where it's like, his foot speed's not what they thought it would be, and it's like,
oh my god,
talk
give
about
it a rest.
overreaction Mondays. Yeah,
oh my god,
yeah. So, but the ball security and the pass protection are the things where it's like, where is that post bye week? That's when I'm saying, okay, and to that point too, you keep him more fresh that way as well. So that's another facet, another component of all of that. But I will say this too. I think about the running game a lot like passing in terms of getting into rhythm. And if there's one player of that three-headed monster that you have that says, okay, I'm going to take on that of, I just get into rhythm, then you ride the hot hand, in my opinion,
absolutely.
when it comes to the running back position.
Absolutely. No, trust me, man. I see where you're saying what you're saying, and I do agree with that. I'm just interested to see how effective our running attack is if we don't utilize him early on, though. I like how Jaylen Warren does it. We've just never seen Jaylen be the predominant back while being the interior bruising back as well. We typically have seen that be more Najee, him be the secondary piece to that, and that complement is where we can see him really thrive. This is a different situation, so that's the part where I'm just curious to see how that plays out, because to me, that was why I thought we drafted Caleb Johnson. You look at how big he is, that to me is the guy that you want to take some of those hits off of Jaylen Warren and allow Jaylen to get some of those little bit more, space out there type of runs, man. But we're going to see, man. We are going to see, because, if he can't pass block or consistently hold the football, like he's not going to get on that field, man. This just can't happen.
Yeah. Before you can get all the touchdowns and that's
can't happen. You got to be able to block. Pass block.
That's why Jaylen Warren got onto the field in the first place. Before it was pass blocking. And that was the question that you had coming in when he was coming in as an undrafted rookie. And then it was like, okay, this is actually something he's good at. But he had to do that first before, he's hurdling over defenders and he runs so hard. And so that's where it's like, let's get some holes from him week 2. Let's surpass 100 yards rushing. Let's not put all of the onus on Rodgers to have to turn back the clock and turn back time. Put Darnell Washington on the line
like
too.
Y'all supposed to look defense. Dang good, man. Take some of the pressure off the boys.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what DK can do up against his former team as well. And I think that's where the connection he has with Rodgers, it was only one game, 80 yards through the air, but they had other opportunities. And I just liked how the yak and the yards out. I know I mentioned it, but just, he gets a catch and he's making that first defender miss. And that's something that I saw with Giannu Smith as well. And I know that the stats aren't there, but I'm like, okay, I can see what the concept is and why he was sought after and included in that trade with Jalen Ramsey of the different weapons in terms of in defensively. Arthur, you know this, of the guys that you're going to be game planning for, where it's like, hey, I got to know where number 4 is at on the field.
Yes.
I got to know where this player's at on the field in terms of what my keys are to make sure that we're doing what we need to do defensively.
Absolutely. Dude, I love it, man. I love it. Well, shoot. It feels good to have this conversation at 1-0. I like that. I definitely like that. Hopefully y'all in the chat liked it as well. And if you did, make sure you hit the like button one time for the culture and subscribe if you are new to the channel. You've heard the conversation. You've heard how me and Mark have broken this thing down. Let us know in the comment section, though. What stood out to you all right? Who were your main people on offense, defense, and obviously, what didn't you like? We need to know all of that, all right? But either way, we appreciate you. Mark, you got anything on the back end before we get up out of here, man?
I just say keep an eye out on the Tomlin Tuesday and the injury front. And that's the Tuesdays. Thing. Yeah. Yes. I want to see the extent of if we know anything about, again, Deshaun Elliott. I think Joey Porter Jr.'s was more precautionary. Those are the two that were really big. But, man, Deshaun Elliott, for how he played a year ago, he was your best safety even with Minka Fitzpatrick on your roster. Not a player that I would want to lose. And so, again, thankfully, Pittsburgh's got some depth at the defensive back position. But those are players that I want to make sure that are healthy because they will help this team in the coming weeks. So that's what I'm looking at this week. And then just getting ready for Seattle of, you're 1-0. Can you start 2-0 in what that does to build some momentum now that the Aaron Rodgers era is here in Pittsburgh?
Let's go. Man, this has been a blast. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I know I had a blast, man. I hope I had a lot of fun doing this thing with you, baby. All right. So we got to keep this thing rolling. All right. Keep the wins going. Keep the good times going as well. But definitely appreciate you. Appreciate everybody for watching this as well. Y'all stay safe out there. And until next time, baby. Peace.